Today I want to talk about what to do if you're bored. This is a very important video because I remember going through it many years as I grew up, and two, now is a perfect time given how many people are bored more than ever with the COVID-19 pandemic. You can't travel. Even if you do travel, you have to be super safe about it. So how exactly do you find things to do? Well, I remember just a couple years ago, a few years ago, I had these summer and winter breaks from school, and I would search up on Google and YouTube things to do when you're bored. And I remember going through those lists and just being very turned off by them. They were poorly done and they were the most random things. Fly a kite, ride a bike, play with a yo-yo. And you could tell this whoever wrote these articles just churned them out and really didn't know what they were talking about. By the way, there's some sunlight there, so excuse the brightness. And so how exactly do you actually find stuff to do? And so this is almost kind of like a letter to my younger self, because I remember those lists were almost useless. I would try some of the stuff. I would try and do productive stuff too, like take online courses, try and learn an instrument. And very quickly, I just get rid of them. They weren't fun. And I ended up resolving to just, enjoy what I could do, which wasn't much. And mostly consisted of some light to moderate exercise and push-ups, calisthenics, and stuff like that. And then playing new video games and watching new TV shows. So it was okay, but I felt like it could have been better. And I'm sure all across the world, there's plenty of people, even after this quarantine ends, who are always just kind of stuck in that, place where maybe their town just has nothing to do, and their only thing of comfort may be the internet, and even the internet got boring. So I think the first thing I would say is do not give up hope. You might think that you've tried out everything possible, and you think that, well, this is it. This is everything under the sun, and my life's over, and I still haven't found my passion because none of these things are fun, and you're screwed. Well, now many years later, I've been able to try so many things I would have never even considered or knew existed. And I guarantee you, even with the internet, there's plenty of stuff that you have not even considered as activities. So even to my younger self, I tell myself, those articles online, those videos, they're just a fraction of what's out there that you can do. Just to give you an idea, throughout the years, just through various channels, keeping an open mind, always saying yes rather than no to new ideas, new activities, I was able to try out all these new stuff, such as a stunt acting class, where we have like serious stunt acting mentors and teachers come in every week and for the next 3-4 hours teach you about how to do roles, choreography, stuff like that. Who would have knew this existed? And I also did all sorts of dancing, salsa, bachata. I did sports. I did a sailing league. I did a what do you call them? A pin rolling skee ball league. I did other leagues too, a bocce league. These are games I didn't even know how to play. I didn't know how to sail a boat before. And then there's all sorts of other stuff that I'm still learning now and exploring and discovering. Currently, I'm taking a songwriting and music class by Alicia Keys. Will it lead anywhere? Maybe not. And that's okay. That's okay. Because for me, writing a song just seems so daunting. So I might just take the information and absorb it and enjoy it. Who knows? I'm also taking a negotiation class by Chris Voss, a FBI hostage negotiator. And who knows where that may lead. I'm going to use, I used it a little bit to negotiate down a very expensive car repair payment. And who knows where that may lead. So that brings me to my next tip, which is to follow what you enjoy and then take action to do research on it and find all the grooves and specifics of it. I would have never joined that stunt acting class coalition if it wasn't for my love of action movies like John Wick, and then my ability to take proactive action afterwards and say, I could just sit here and say I enjoyed that movie and wow, I would love to do that one day, but never do anything about it. Or I can actually work towards that, even if it's the most bizarre, impossible thing. So I did the latter, and I ended up doing a bunch of research and just went on Google and said, stunt acting near my area, stunt actors, stunt acting Facebook groups. And through my research there, asking people about it, I was able to find an actual class. And of course, it was a little out of my way and all these other things, but you can't let those excuses bring you down. And you might be saying, well, okay, it's great that you found those dance classes and acting classes and all that stuff, but those are outdoor activities. You can't do that anymore with social distancing. Well, eventually you will, but the bigger point is that you want to copy the idea, the process, not the specifics of the execution to that degree. You can do the same thing with stuff that's socially distanced. And maybe for you that ends up being using a digital work studio like FL Studio or Reaper or something like that to create songs on your computer in the comfort of your home, which, who knows where that could lead. It's turned Little Nas X, Billie Eilish, and Post Malone into really wealthy, successful musicians. So, there's plenty of possibilities there. Another tip I would give is, go ahead and look at those lists on Google, those 200 or 2,000 things to do if you're bored lists. But chances are, just realize that they probably won't be the things that will really get you anywhere, and that's okay. Find out, pursue, and learn about the things that you might like, and keep exploring. Look at what you already like, and then find new things. YouTube recommended, of course, obviously does its work, but there's all sorts of crazy stuff out there. I mean, on TikTok, you find out all these crazy hobbies and activities that you never knew someone took so seriously. There's a guy who basically wants to copy and learn every Jackie Chan choreography to a T, and he does that. There's another girl who has a large following, rapidly growing, who loves ice skating and is really good at it. Another loves rollerblading, and some really like mashing up pop songs in new ways and then remixing them. So there's all sorts of stuff you can do, all sorts of different avenues. And for me, just to give you an idea of how diverse these topics can go, I'm big in personal development. Well, there's so many avenues within that I have real love for, others that I don't. And all these subtopics that I didn't even know existed. Currently, I'm really getting into social intelligence, social psychological persuasion, body language, analyzing others, tactical empathy, negotiation, those types of things. And those are all topics on their own with books dedicated to them and experts on them. And that's just one area of personal development, a more social aspect of it. However, there's many others. There's people who focus on the health and fitness side. Some people like David Goggins, they love just trying to break world records or do extreme things. I want to hit 200 pull-ups one day, or 2,000 pull-ups, or some people, that's what they want. I want to do this. I want to get 500 push-ups one day. Other people, focus on all these different things. So I think to kind of emphasize the point again, finding things that you enjoy is so possible, but you have to believe that there's so many new things out there that you haven't discovered. You may think that you've hit the end of the well, but not even close. You have to dig for it. And then the final tip I have is to network, to talk to people, to connect with people, even if it's on the phone or via email. For example, you don't know what's out there until you really ask someone who's experienced in that industry. I've used this technique very successfully on LinkedIn to reach out, connect with a bunch of different people in many industries. And I should be doing more of that. I've dropped off lately, but take a industry that you really would be curious about, but you don't have a lot of knowledge in. Well, now you have all these assumptions in your head that may or may not be true. And I did this long ago with the esports industry. That's a huge emerging new industry. I mean, video game professionals. But what about all the other jobs in esports if you can't make it as a professional gamer? Well, someone's got to operate the camera. Someone has to be the producer. There's co-hosts, there's hosts, there's MCs, there's organizers, there's merchandise people, there's event coordinators. At least that's what I assume there should be, right? Just like with any other big sports arena or sports industry. So I really didn't know, and I had to go out and ask people and reach out to them on LinkedIn just for a no strings attached informational interview for 5-10 minutes. And when you present it and offer it in the right way, which is a topic for another day, but if you show that you're not trying to get a job out of them or anything, you just want a quick informational chat, some of them are more than willing to help out and give back, and you learn a lot about the industry. At the time when I did ask about that, I realized the industry was still very, very new, and you really had to claw and fight for any position, and there weren't many. But now, that was years ago, things have evolved even further so that there's stadiums, coordinators, and so forth, and entire organizations like League of Legends with thousands of employees. So perhaps things have changed and you can find your way into there. So with something like that, you can totally change how things are done by understanding what's out there. And now that you have that knowledge, you can start pursuing, learning about those things, enjoying them. And who knows, it could not only lead to just some hobby to pass the time right now, but maybe a job in the future that you really, really enjoy. What if you learn, for example, that there are jobs for League of Legends, esports, merchandise designers? That could potentially lead you down a road where, you have a job that has lower competition because no one's even knows it exists. And then you're doing all these stuff that you enjoy anyways. You love the video game. You're starting to learn about designing stuff in Photoshop and then create 3D renderings of them. And then you wrap this all together and you're enjoying it. And then a year later, you've built this enormous portfolio of different designs just based off what you enjoyed making. And now you have this edge when you apply for the job. So it doesn't always have to be about finding a job and income, but it will at least get your gears turning on, what's out there, what do people do with their time. And I'm always on the lookout. That's why I find so many things. I've done aerial yoga, I've done Pilates, I've done crazy stuff, Tough Mudders, and that's all been about pushing my comfort zone and always keeping my eyes and ears open. I'll be scrolling through Facebook events, I'll be watching documentaries, watching videos just to see how different cultures celebrate their life, what activities they do, and that's how you find out cool new hobbies and different things out there. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later.